Okay, dokie. Now it's working. All right, I think I got one viewer already in line. Small and quick stream and starting to develop a scene changer integrating a preset system. Okay. Let's see how I sound because I have no idea. Writing a preset system. All right. Yeah, it's kind of been a while since I did my last stream. Being quite busy. And I already had a quite similar system to the one I want to develop today, and it's a scene changer system. And basically, yeah, what I need for that is something different today. So I know there's Jared's scene changer, but I'm simply going to use quite a lot of components I already have set up. For example, I'm going to use my top switcher, which is quite powerful. And also I'm going to implement the TauCeti preset system, which is also quite powerful. So yeah, let me just set up the OLED browser so I don't have to go to the website all the time. Pardon me. All right, and let's drop that here. It's downloaded, and now we can simply put it into the middle. All right, so one thing I always like to do is I will create a container here, call this one UI, set this one to fill, and I'm simply going to put in a comp here, and I'm going to name this one the scene changer. And what I'm going to put in here is going to be simply a reference to the parent, nothing more, so we can put this aside for a moment. All right, what are component, yes, wing toe quang, it will be recorded, you can always come back to it. So what are core components I will need? Definitely one core component, as I already said, is the top switcher here. So I can just place it here. And what the top switcher has, and what makes it, hi Stefan, by the way, and what makes it quite useful is it has the select top component method, which you can do in a specific time, and that is quite powerful. So for example, if we have a movie file in here, I will just disconnect this. Now we change it to account here. I can now script the change. And what will be quite important is it's unloading. So right now, as you can see here, we have two different movie file in tops, and they're both not cooking, even that this one should cook. And what I can do now is I can ask the top switcher, select top, and oh, I hope that, oh no, my poor computer is just, maybe it's a little bit overwhelmed by what's going on here. Well, we will see. Because I'm streaming on my laptop, so for this reason it might. We'll see how it goes. So what I can put in here, I'm just going to name this one top here, and then we just say op top, and we say we want to have it in 2 seconds. And now if I execute the script here, you see it now takes care of all of this. And yeah, the same when I say put in the static here, static operator, and execute that, you see that it will automatically take care of uncooking basically the selected operator. It's quite interesting. I'm sure you won't see it, but my screen is like turning on and off again like crazy. It's sometimes doing that. It didn't do that too much, but yeah. So this is why this top switcher here is the core component that we will have to use. So that's already something the user might want to use. So we're just going to move the resolution here, and we're going to give it an output. And what I like to do quite often right now is I'm just going to name this one video out, because I'm working kind of on a system where I can use more than I can use several outputs. So not just an output for video, but also an audio output. And so that I have like a media comp, which has a video out and an audio out. So and then I have this media switcher. Maybe we'll come to the OLED in the future. We will see. Okay. Next thing is we want a component to hold our generators, and let's just call this one library in this case. And for the library, we also need a system to hold, or like a prefab. So let's call this one entry prefab. And now inside of this prefab, we are going to put the magic. So in this case, I'm not gonna use the top switcher here, but what we want is we definitely want to have the TauCeti preset manager, like this. One quite interesting thing I just added is a page scope. So basically, if you have a custom operator, you can use page scope. Yeah, so if you have like a custom component, you can use the page scope to define which pages of the dropped component, if you drop one inside, should be used. But it's not super important basically. Also, the whole UI part isn't that important right now, so we're just going to disable all of the UI elements here because we don't need it, because we're going to script quite a lot. Perfect. Let's put in a placeholder base here. And there's one thing I really would like to check out. So we are going to put in an out here, maybe a constant here. and we're going to connect this to a second out here. And again, we're just going to call this one video out. Okay, now we're going to create an extension for this. Do we need an extension? No, we are not going to use an extension. Basically, what we are going to do now is we're going for a scene changer to create an extension. So we're going to right click, customize component. Here we have our extension. And we're going to call this one TauCeti Scenechanger. Quite easy. Okay, and oops, gonna move this one over here. Get rid all of this, and we are going to define a function to load in a new component. So load talks to library. Now we're going to use a file path here. Okay, we will have to check, or it is probably a good idea to check if an element is actually existing. So we're going to use the OS module. First thing we're going to do is we are going to ask for if OS. No, we're not going to do that. I'm too lazy today. Basically, what we are going to do is we're going to copy the entry prefab component into our library. So we are going to say op first we're going to say self.library equals self.ownerconf.op library. And now we're saying self.library.copy, and we're going to say self.prefab equals self.ownerconf.op entry prefab. Okay, now we're going to name this one new entry, and there we go. Perfect. So now we will have to load a file inside of there. So what we're going to do is we're going to say new entry.op base1. Now we're going to set the external tox parameter .par.external tox. We're going to set this one to file path. And what we're going to do now is we're going to pulse the re-init network. New entry.op base1 par.reinitnet.pulse. Quite easy. So now we have a function to create a new entry, load the file, and off we go. So now we kind of have a problem that we don't really have a name for the element. So let's find a name. And luckily there is os.path.base name should be the right, but I think there's also let's check the documentation here for a moment. I think it should be in the, so here's the Python class reference. Let's find. No, it should be, I think it's a TD module, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's the path info. Takes so we have the file path, string after, and including the dot. That's the extensions. No, it in fact does not give us the correct name, but what we are looking for is the base. So in this case, in this case, we're simply going to use the base tdu.base on the file path. So we're going to say name equals tdu.base file path, and we can now feed this one into as an argument into our copy. Name equals name. And what we now also need to do is in the new entry, we have to go into the engine of the preset manager. So we have preset manager /engine/stack, and inside of the stack we go here, we have a add comp component. Exactly, it's right here. So we're going to call this, and we're going to add the new entry right in there. Okay, so now if we take something like, let's find a file path for something. So we have, yeah, I think the point ocean is quite nice. Let's see the details. Let's just, come on. So let's take this. Let's take the file path. It's going to be something like this. And then we are simply, I mean, as simply as it gets. So I have to replace this sooner or later. It's simply going to be drag and drop. So let's add this, and then we are going to call let's see what I'm writing here. Parent.load talks to library, and we're going to give it a file path here. So let's see if this works. Now let's see, and we have our entry prefab here, and now if we take a look at our preset manager, we don't have a comp. Or do we? Let's dive inside. No, we don't. Okay, but why? Also, the whole name thing isn't really working. So let's see what the name is that we want to give it in this situation. So let's run this script here again. That's not what the documentation said it would do. So let's find again. Before any digits. No. Okay, so let's find the OS path base name. In this case, we are going to say import OS. We are going to say base name os.path.appspath. Oh, I'm going to look for the file path here. So let's try that again. Let's get rid of this one here and let's run our script again. Almost perfect. So let's see if this worked now. And it didn't. That is quite interesting. Maybe it is a problem of the UI being locked, but it shouldn't. Okay, let's try this one more time. But why? So now I lost my keyboard. Page scope. Maybe this is the reason. Really wondering why it's doing that. Let's see, new entry dot custom parse in this case to see if anything interesting is happening here. Oh, I see. That definitely is a problem. No one's watching. Oh, that sucks. I think I had this problem already once. So let's see how I can get around that. Let's see what happens if I say Nope. Okay. Change of plans, I would say. Instead, we are going to see what happens if we load. So we're going to say, oh no, that's okay. But instead, we're going to say new entry component equals self dot bullshit. Okay, now that looks much better. So what are we going to do now? For one, we are going to remove the base one here. We're just going to put in a placeholder constant here. So now we are adding the new entry component here to the stack. Quite easy. Actually, I would like to remove the I would like to remove the name, the pure name. So in this case, I simply say split, and I say 0. Split, and I'm going to split at the point, and I want the 0 element of all of this. That's okay. So it doesn't say tox all the time. Quite easy. Okay. Now we have to connect our newly loaded component to our video out. So what we can do now is we say, okay, for, and actually we have to go into the documentation again here. Here is the comp class. And the comp class has let's search for output. Input list of output components from this component through it's the bottom connector. Let's see what it says when I get just a debug. New entry component dot outputs. I think it's every time. So basically I have to look for the output connectors. Yes, that's the correct one. And now we can say for output in new entry component output connectors, I can ask if the output dot type. Let's just debug that. TD connector object has no type. Okay, let's see. Here's the connectors. Is input, is output. Let's check here. It's like the whole connecting things is quite strange. Because so we have to go to connectors and then we have to go into the connector object. It's always hard to find. I have this problem so often. So I can connect it, I can disconnect it. Why? Why is it so hard right now to find out what the type Let's see if I maybe have some more information here. Type, connector, path, index, direction. That's not helping at all. Oh yeah, so it's the out OP. Okay. So I can get the type of the out OP. It's the out OP. Yes. So what we can now do is we can check this one. And we simply say new entry, new entry.op video out. And then we break the loop. All right, let's try that again. It's of course not working. So we're searching for an out top. That's all not helping at all. So back to our trusty documentation. Help me one more time. Okay. Python class reference, operator reference. I think what I'm looking for is a family. Yes, so we are trying to find the family. And it's still not working. Why? Okay. That's because I'm searching for our top, but I just need the top. Let's try this one more time. Okay, and it's working. But this one still isn't. Why is this still not working? That upsets me. That's clearly not how it's... New entry component dot custom pages. Should work like this. Okay, this is this kind of sucks. Yeah, this doesn't make a lot of sense. This isn't really doing a lot of sense right now. Okay, what the fuck? Oh, no wonder no one's watching. Okay. Okay, this seems to be a very different issue. So, but I tested it, right? So if I do this, oh no. What's, oh. Oh, it is here. It's just the UI not working, so everything's in best order. No need to worry. So actually, I think I can do this again, because I definitely need all of this version control stuff. Let's try it again. Let's look into the engine. No, we got an error. It's quite an interesting error. So let's get rid of the page scope here. Yeah, that shouldn't really be an issue. So let's try that again. Let's run a script. And let's see, okay, so it's all there. I was just a problem with the lister. So I can just disable the UI here. No need for that. Okay, this one figured out. We got it connected. Now it would be nice to record a preset. And we can do that relatively simple. So we need a table here. And we're going to simply name this table presets here. And inside of this table, we're going to have a name of the preset, and we will have a lib entry. So we're going to record a scene, and we will use a name, and we're going to use a component. And what we're going to do now is we are library entry. And we're not going to name this one presets, but actually scenes. Okay, what are we going to do now? We will definitely need something. Oh no, this will come in later. What we now simply do is we check if the scene already exists. Quite easy. So we're going to ask self.onacomp.op scenes, and we are going to look for the lib entry. If it does exist, we are going to delete it. So actually, I think self.scenes.delete row name like this should already be perfect. Now we are going to search for our component. So our lib entry name dot library dot op lib entry name. And now we're simply asking if library entry, or if not library entry, we're going to return the whole function and just not do anything. If it exists, we are going to delete the scene if it already exists. As a next step, we are going to say library entry. And we're just going again, grab all of this. And this time we're just going to take the engine itself. Let's take a look what we can use here. So here's the preset manager, here's the engine, and the engine has a let me see, import, export, recall, store preset function. Yeah, basically that's it. Store preset, and we are saying check overwrite is false. Quite simple. So yeah, no need for that. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it. And we're going to say self.scenes append row, and we're going to give it the name and the library entry name. Yep, that should be it. And now comes the much more interesting part, and that's the recalling. So how can we do that? Even simpler. For one, we need self.selected scene equals none. Yeah. Scene name, and we have to give it a time. So first thing we are going to do is we're going to ask, so we have an active library element. First is we're going to ask if the scene exists. It's like the first part. So we are going to ask for the lib entry self.scenes scene name and we're going to ask for the lib entry. And even better, we can already ask for self.library.op. If that makes any sense right now for the 0 person looking right now. So we have our library entry. If not library entry, return. That's the first part. Okay, now we have our library entry. Now we can easily check if self.active library element equals library entry. In this case, we simply ask or do the following. We are going to say library entry engine. Let's actually can simply check here. We can ask a recall preset. Recall preset. How much is it? It's like name and time. And we also already do have the name, and it's the scene name, and the time is simply the time. if the active library element isn't active right now, we have to do the following. And that's where everyone should be watching. Is we're doing the same, but we're setting the time to 0 in this case. And what we are going to do is let's get rid of this here. Is we are saying solve.owner.com.op top switcher, select top, and we are going to say library entry op video out. Oh, we got an error. Dang it. Oh yeah. Okay. So now let's see if this works. First, we're going to load our test scene in. Okay, so then we take this name here. Then we say, call another script here. Let's go into our library here. I totally forgot what I wrote. Record scene. Hello, and we want to give it this one. Let's see. So, we got an error. Index invalid or out of range. Value hello. Dang it. So, yeah, delete row isn't really working if it doesn't exist. So let's check what the table doc is saying. Delete row. That sucks a lot. Like, I'm not even sure why. I don't really care if it exists or not if I want to delete it. So I'll have to think of something else. Basically, I think what we can try is self.scenes name, and so let's see if this works by any chance. Oops. In line 35, no, it's still not working. What? Index invalid or out of range? Yeah, that's kinda the point why I'm doing this here. Let me just check if it's, or if we're having this issue where it's like, no. Let's get back to this later. That's not really the point right now. Jesus Christ, okay. I think I know what's going on. Often have this issue. Store preset, missing one required additional argument. Yes, it's the name you are missing here. And let's try this again. Okay. So now let's change some values here. Maybe let's increase the point size multiplier. Okay, and we're going to create a second one here. Hello 2. Okay, so now if I do, let's see, recall scene. And I want to have hello 2 in 2 seconds. Let's see. And of course we have an issue. In line 56, select top is missing time. Geez. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, and you see we switched the values. So let me maybe just turn this on here. So now if I am looking for hello without hello 2, yeah, and I know why that is. Because I also have to set active library element equals library entry. And now if I switch them, they are fading between the values. And basically what I'm going to do now is I am, yeah, that's exactly the way it is supposed to behave. Perfect. That was kinda easy. TauCeti Scenechanger. Okay, so basically now we do have functions for loading a tox into our library, something to record a scene, something to recall a scene. And what we can also do is we can create something to delete a scene. And to be honest, I'm kind of lazy quite often. So let's just say self.library entry. Yeah, just gonna just be super lazy. That's going to be the deletion of a scene. So now we can kind of get back to our UI, but I think not today. So I think no one watched. So in this case, if you see this later, maybe it's already OLED. All hail the OLED. Bye bye.